tonight's headlines. Water charges in the city set to rise for the first time in nearly 3 decades. A contractor working on SAR public housing projects owes 3 months' salary to his employees. And Claudia Sheinbaum becomes Mexico's first woman president after a historic landslide victory.
The public would soon have to dig deeper into their pockets for water bills after the price has been frozen for 3 decades. In an interview with Chinese-language newspaper Xingqiao, Water Supplies Director Roger Wong revealed that the decision came as the cost recovery rate stood at a record low of 79%. It deemed a challenge for us in providing high-quality and stable water supply, he said. Wong did not provide a concrete timetable on when the price review would be completed, but he emphasized that the issue will be dealt with progressively in a humane approach, since the department is not aiming to fully recover its costs in one go. The official pointed out that water tariff only accounts for 0.1 to 0.2% of the household spending, which is only 1/10 of that of advanced cities. He emphasized that the 4-tier tariff structure for domestic consumers would remain unchanged for now. The department has formed an outreach team in April in a bid to seek the views of industries with relatively high water usage on the price hike, including the Laundry Association. Taking to the airwaves, the group chairman Chow Hon-kang said it is unfair to not allow the department to step up its charge after a 3-decade freeze, but it is not a good time to do so. He hopes the authorities could be more lenient by only imposing a single-digit surge. While water costs made up of 5 to 10% of the laundry's expenditure, customers would definitely have to bear the additional fees caused by the increment, Chow added. On the same program, Simon Wong, president of the Federation of Restaurants and Related Trades, expressed doubts on the effectiveness of the hike towards reimbursing the fiscal reserve, as the measure could only bring in at most $200 million extra. He is worried that the increment would cause a ripple effect, such as higher electricity and management fees, and put an extra burden on operating costs. Janice Lowe, Cable News.
Construction workers working at the Hema Amber site on Anderson Road in Kwun Tong are seen going to work amidst rumors of insolvent employers owing them wages of more than 3 months. Paul Y Engineering, a local construction and civil engineering company responsible for the project, was accused of owing a few months' wages to workers, but still required workers to clock in on time. This worker has not been paid for more than a quarter of the year and is on his way to file a complaint at the Labor Department. A subcontractor says he has paid the workers on his team in advance, but he himself was not paid for more than 3 months, and urges the contractor to negotiate terms with the Hong Kong Housing Society. Who is in charge of the Hema Amber project. While Paul Y Engineering is responsible for at least 22 public housing and development projects, the Housing Society says workers of the other 3 development projects handled by Paul Y Engineering are fully paid every month. Speaking at the Legislative Council, Financial Secretary Paul Chan says one incident cannot represent whether the development of the whole construction industry is going downhill, and it may be a company management issue instead. Chan also mentioned that the construction industry has been reviving in the past 2 years, ever since the government has pushed forward multiple construction projects across the city. Janice Yu, Cable News.
The government has kicked off a campaign in a bid to promote good hospitality in the city.
歡迎旅客嗰種態度咧係有所懷疑嘅。
Tourism Chief Kevin Young noted that there were cases of tourists getting treated impolitely. But by rolling out the campaign, he hoped various sectors could offer a warm welcome to visitors. The government has not earmarked additional funds for the scheme, as the secretary said the campaign is done regularly. Citizens would be recruited as volunteers to offer recommendations to the tourists. Police officers have arrested the 8th suspect for violating the new domestic national security law. The 62-year-old man was alleged of committing offences in connection with seditious intent. The arrest came ahead of the anniversary of Tiananmen Square incident tomorrow. It is believed that he is the uncle of activist Chow Hang-tong, who was among the 7 others aged 37 to 65 apprehended last week. The former vice-chairwoman of the now-disbanded Hong Kong Alliance had allegedly published seditious posts on Facebook page Chow Hang-tong Club since April through at least 7 suspects.
Police have recorded up to 7,600 cases of technology crime in the first 3 months of this year, a 3.2% rise from the same period last year. Total losses jumped to $1.62 billion in the first quarter, marking a 94.2% surge from the $830 million recorded last year. Out of all shams, some fraudsters are now targeting former scam victims, posing as fake companies that claim to be legal service providers or private investigators that are able to recover money lost in previous scams. Chan was one of the victims that fell into such traps. After losing $600,000 to another scam last July, Chan was convinced by the fake service providers that he would be able to retrieve his lost money through gambling on a Macau-based lottery website provided by the scammers. At first, he was able to win a few $1,000s on a platform, with winnings transferred to his bank account. But later on, he was no longer able to withdraw money from the lottery platform and ending up losing more than $210,000. Police said there are 6 such cases so far this year, with losses over $8 million. While most types of online fraud have dropped this year, investment scams and account hijacks have risen, with amounts lost surging. Cases of online investment fraud in January to March have doubled from 631 last year to 979 this year. And losses from such cases have accelerated 128.4% to $690 million from $300 million last year. Citizens are urged to be suspicious and highly cautious when handling online information and be wary when talking to unknown online sources in order to prevent from being scammed. Janice Yu, Cable News.
In a landslide victory, Claudia Sheinbaum was elected as Mexico's first woman president in the country's 200-year-old history. Addressing supporters in the main square of the capital, Mexico City, Sheinbaum told voters, "I won't fail you." Representing the ruling Morena party, Sheinbaum garnered nearly 60% of the vote in yesterday's national elections. She defeated her nearest rival, Xochitl Galvez of the National Action Party, which secured roughly 28% of the ballots. Congratulating Sheinbaum, Galvez said she accepted defeat out of her love for the country and added that it was a historic milestone for Mexico to elect its first female president. In 2018, Sheinbaum became the first female mayor of Mexico City, a post she held until last year when she stepped down to run for president. A former energy scientist, the 61-year-old will also be the first person of Jewish heritage to lead the country. Apart from a new president, nearly 100 million registered voters were expected to cast their ballots to elect all members of Mexico's Congress, governors in 8 states, and thousands of local officials. The campaign was marred by violent attacks, and more than 20 candidates contesting at the district level were killed across Mexico. Starting her 6-year term on October 1st, Sheinbaum will replace her mentor and outgoing president, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. Sachin Katwi, Cable News.
Hong Kong stocks started the week and the month on a positive note after inflation data from the United States boosted optimism that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates before the end of the year. The Hang Seng Index inched higher at opening, at one point rose as much as 494 points before giving up some of the gains in the afternoon. The benchmark ends up 1.79%, or 323 points, to 18,403 points. Turnover stood at $132.3 billion. Electric vehicle sales improved last month. Mainland car makers got the boost, with Li Auto ticked up 5.3% and BYD rose 5%, being the best two performing blue chips. Henderson Land is expected to receive $3.9 billion from the government in compensation for a Hong Shui Kiu site recovered by the authority. Shares of the developer once shot up for more than 3%.